This podcast contains explicit language.
Bafangu!
Houston, flight is go.
Mila, let's go. SPM. Safety contact.
From Assignment X, thesoniashow.com, and Amalgamated Storytelling, this is the Dorking Out Show, the podcast for people who love stories from movies, TV, books, podcasts, and everywhere else.
Welcome to episode 128 of Dorking Out. This is the Food for Thought edition. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me today is my favorite of all my husbands and co-host of my other favorite podcast, Old Movies, New Beer, David Tracy.
Bon appetit.
Thanks for coming on my show, David.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's nice of you. I wanted David to come on the show so that we could talk about the Great British Baking Show.
That's right.
Also known as the Great British Bake Off.
Yeah.
Because we absolutely love the show and we love food shows in general. And we're going to do it Old Movies, New Beer style. We're going to be drinking a St. Bernardus 12.
Yes.
One of my early favorites of the Belgian beers. And I'm going to let David open it and pour it.
Yeah.
While I give a little intro.
Okay.
Is that cool?
I'm gonna. Yeah. You have a grand intro for all of it.
Not really, but
okay.
I do have an intro.
What's on the menu for tonight?
Well, I want to make sure we get the cork pop.
Oh,
and then I'll.
That's the aperitif.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough because it's one of those. It's got a corked.
And it's a 10%.
Yeah, it's a brutal beer.
Yeah, so if we get a little slurry.
It's because we've had 5 beers before having this beer. It's kind of. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
A little to the left. A little to the right.
Oh. Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
That wasn't weird.
So, season 5 of the Great British Baking Show just dropped on Netflix this last week. And there were some big changes to our favorite show. So, known as the Great British Bake Off overseas, but over here is the Great British Baking Show. Here in the U.S., it moved from the BBC to Channel 4. And when they did that, they lost some of their key players. So 2 of the original hosts, Sue and Mel, moved on. And then shortly after that, one of the judges, Mary Berry, also left the show. So Judge Paul Hollywood remains on the show. And then he's joined by someone named Prue Leelith, I think is how you pronounce it. And she was a judge on the Great British Menu for years on probably Channel 4 as well, I assume. And Sue and Mel have been replaced by comedians Noel Fielding, who we know from the IT Crowd and the Mighty Boosh, and someone named Sandy Toksvig. Toksvig?
I don't know.
Sure, let's say that. And yeah, so they're doing the Mel and Sue shtick. The format's pretty much the same. It's just these
Format's
new,
exactly the
yeah,
same.
but it's like the new people, new cast, if you will.
Yeah.
So, well, first
we have our beer. I poured it. It took a little while to do because it's one of those, those Belgian beers. They have the crazy foam heads on them, and you have to let them sit for a while and blah blah blah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. So one thing about this beer, even though I know this is an Old Movies, New Beer, but I have to talk about the beer a little bit.
No, we should talk about the beer.
Just a skosh, just a little side thing. We went to a place in Oakland many years ago called The Trappist, and they had this St. Bernardus. Actually, they had a keg of it. They had it on draft. It was the first time they'd ever. It was right at the very beginning when Belgian beers were getting popular, and it was pretty crazy to actually see it on draft.
It was the St. Bernardus 8.
Are you sure it wasn't the 12? I think it was the 12.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was the 8. But anyway, continue.
But we, it actually inspired us to insert something into our honeymoon that we were planning because we were just going to go to France. And then after having the St. Bernardus, we thought, we need to go to Belgium too. So
Yeah.
this was the beer that motivated us to go to Belgium and then drink a ton more different stuff. So it's a really good beer.
Was one of those beers that
Gateway beer.
It was totally a gateway beer. Like, really, my experience with any kind of dark beer before that was a Guinness. That was pretty much it. And we went to went to the Trappist, and I was like, surprise me, and the bartender was like, give her this, and I was like, it was like, ding.
Yeah, it's good.
It was like from the movie Requiem for a Dream. Like, I took one sip, and it's like my blood starts flowing, my pupils dilate.
That was but a happier,
but a happier association
experience. Yeah,
I hope so. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
now you can say Bernardus at any Whole Foods anywhere.
Absolutely.
It's all over the place, but it's solid. It's legit.
Yeah, it's like a good, like, steady pick. Like, whenever you get it, it's going to be a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have the 8.
They have a triple. They have a triple. They have a. This is the quad. This is kind of. They do a seasonal beer every year. That's really good too.
They're all just really good. Mm-hmm. They're all good. So what do you think about the changes to the Great British Baking Show? Or should we just talk about why we love the Great British Baking Show first?
I think we should talk about why we love it first.
Okay.
And then see if the changes bother us.
Okay. So
explore.
Why do you love the Great British Baking Show?
I like the Great British Baking Show because it has such, especially living here, it has just such great personalities, not just of the people hosting and judging, but also of the contestants. And it's like a competitive, so many reality shows that you watch now, they have to insert some sort of drama or romance or conflict.
Make them all live together.
Yeah, like there's all this stupid stuff. And like we got tired of, we used to like to watch Top Chef.
We used to love Top Chef.
And then that got to like,
it was just, they were doing all this stuff to create drama all the time.
Yeah,
and it wasn't about the food at all.
It felt very manufactured. And the thing about this show is it is 100% about the food.
Yeah.
And you're rooting for, there's no villain of the piece.
No.
Like, you're rooting for everybody.
Yeah.
It all looks friggin' amazing and delicious at the same time.
It's almost, the villain of the piece is...
the judging?
Is baking.
Is the oven. It's the oven itself.
Oven and timing.
It's like external factors.
The yeast and the proving and the
it's
oven.
The humidity in the tent that day.
It's the only villain of the piece.
Damn you, humidity in the tent.
Yeah, one of the things that drove me nuts about Top Chef, and one of the reasons I think I lost interest, was not only the manufactured drama, where I was just like, oh, I don't give a shit about that. Like, that means nothing to me. But, like, it was frustrating because they did manufacture drama, and there was, like, kind of a villain. Mm-hmm. And then inevitably, like, that person would win. So then it's like watching, like, the bad guy win over and over and over. And it was just frustrating.
Well, and the other thing also is with Top Chef is you have a lot of people, every contestant is a chef. Like, they're all established.
They're all trained.
They're all trained, and in the kitchen and in that environment, in that profession, there's a lot of ego.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of there's attitude, it's just kind of the nature of the beast when you work professionally in that environment and you're striving for Michelin stars and everything like this. This is an amateur baking competition.
Yes.
Like
no one's a professional.
It's like you've got your granny, you've got your college student, you've got your builder, you've got, there's this wide range from all walks of life, different ethnicities. Yeah. Like it's just people who love to bake.
That's one of my favorite things about the show is the range of people, the diversity on that show. And when I say diversity, I don't mean like, oh, people of different races, although that's true too. Yeah. But it's about like the age range too. So like almost every season there's been someone who's basically a kid. Like someone who's like 18 or 19 years old, and then like all the way up to a granny, and like
granny,
someone who's
grandfather.
like, I was in the military, and
I am a prison guard.
or like I'm a construction worker, I'm an architect, whatever, like a
Yeah.
medical student, like
There's
all these different types of people, and they're, along with just really loving to bake, which is awesome, like they all are like good people. Like they don't show up and like stir up a bunch of shit, and like they all really root for each other,
And they're all good.
Like
They're
there's
all
no
good
one
still.
that you're
it's not
like
you're watching like people that don't know what they're doing. Like you're still like
when you watch like
impressed.
Yeah, when you watch like American Idol, and there's always this singer that like would make it to the top 10, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how did this person get here? That's never happened on this show. Like, there's certainly people that at a certain point you're like, oh, they're over their head or whatever, but like, they're still really good.
And here's the funny thing is that it's not all like, there's still drama just because everything is timed. There's stuff doesn't work out.
Right.
There's, everything goes wrong. There's one episode, it was like the first episode of a season where everybody kept like, they keep having to call the medic because people keep like cutting themselves. Like people have
all
like
this like nervous,
all these like blue bandages on all
Yes.
their fingers and
all
stuff.
this like nervous cutting.
Like that was like such an excruciating show to watch because all these people are just trying to do their first. It was literally the first episode of the season, and it was stressful.
Yeah,
it was really stressful.
I think it's funny the way they are able to build the tension that they build, and how just something as simple as like they've baked something in a tin and they have to like turn that tin upside down or something to get their cake out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so nervous for them that their cake is gonna
collapse.
or that it's not cooked all the way, or things like that. And we've had definitely been episodes where like they tip it and like they take the tin off and like it's just like bleh, like just and I'm like, every time I'm like, oh no, like it's very dramatic.
And it's so fun too, like the little shots of their personal lives, especially being in another country, and the kind of little
like
different walks of life. Like here's the kid that plays cello in the pub on Sundays, and here's the guy that grows his own herbs and lives in a village of 10
and what did he
Cornwall.
say? There was a guy one season who wasn't even, he's like, I'm not even the best baker in my town, and he has like a town of like 40 people.
Yeah, he never wins in the baking competitions in his town of 40 people, and then
but somehow he made it on the show.
Yeah, like there's a contestant in the season we're watching right now where this woman is like, she's an amateur blacksmith, and
Yeah, of course she is. Why wouldn't she be?
Why not? And there's the vicar's wife, and it's like every little. I think it's it's super. It definitely feeds the stereotype of you're watching Miss Marple mysteries and like different suspects or contestants on the Great British Baking Show.
Yes.
But as someone here, like I'm not a huge Anglophile, but I love hearing like the accents, and I love like the different. Just the crisscross of stuff is it's so fun to fun to listen to.
One of the things I love is you'll never hear someone on the Great British Baking Show say, "I'm not here to make friends." Like they're like
everybody leaves, and the reason they're sad to leave is because they've made so many friends.
They all
in the
say
tent.
like, "Oh, I made such wonderful friends here."
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally here to make friends. Basically, is what they're all saying, and it's such a stereotype of the American reality show where they're just like, "I'm not here to make friends." And
so it's fun, because it's funny because it's not all like you feel like, oh, it's going to be kind of boring because they're all supportive, and you can't have a successful competition show with that ingredient. But they've proven it wrong because it still has the tension. There's still someone going home every week.
Right.
There's still a whole lot of crazy factors of things that can go wrong. So like it's still like, to quote Paul Hollywood, it ticks all the boxes, but and it has all of the unnecessary stuff. So it's a calming but also engaging show to watch. It's not like you're watching the cooking channel and you're watching somebody bake a, roasted chicken or something like that. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like you're watching the Food Network.
Yes.
So it's still engaging, and
Yes.
it's still something that you look forward to every week because it is a progression, it's a story, and it has a grand finale that's fun. So, and there's no huge sponsored by Rice-A-Roni. You now get a $500,000 you literally get a glass baking dish that says Top Chef on it, or a great Bake Off.
Yeah.
whatever.
Like you're the Bake Off
whatever
Star Baker. Or
yeah,
whatever.
like the prize is bragging rights and a glass cake tray. Yeah. Like that's the trophy is a
Right.
glass. Like it's not like, and you get a contract
and
to open your own restaurant.
One of the things I love about it too is, they're all making the same thing, but they're making different variations of something. So like every week it's a themed week. It's like, it's pudding week, it's biscuit week, it's pie week.
Yeah.
And so they're all in that way making the same thing, but they all have their own take, and they all have their own story about why they're making what they're making.
And they have room to be creative because they know in
yeah.
advance.
Yeah. So for two of the there's 3 challenges. There's what's the first one called? I forget.
I just think it's just the first.
Yeah.
challenge.
The first one is
They have
they're told like in advance what they can do, and
Yeah.
they just bake something. And then the second one is called the technical challenge, which they're just given these bare bones recipe and told to
make this.
and
the
it'll
allotted
say things
time.
like make bread,
Yeah.
bake bread,
Yeah, make dough.
yeah, twist it so it looks like this, but they don't show them pictures or anything.
It's cook this, and without giving them a temperature or a time or.
And then the last one's called the showstopper.
Yeah.
And that's where they're really supposed to go all out and make something that's not only delicious, but it looks really cool or pretty or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a presentation piece.
Yes.
Like the first one is more like a great example of the style and bringing their own thing to it. And then the last one is
Your signature challenge. That's what
that's
they
right.
call
Yeah,
it.
the signature challenge.
Yeah.
And then the last one's more of like a centerpiece, center table, fancy, and gets a lot more decorative and stuff like that. And also the judging is just kind of, the hosts are fun. The judging, I think, is really fun. You have kind of the good cop, bad cop a little bit with Paul Hollywood that they love to make fun of.
Yes.
The hosts do.
They do.
And then Mary Berry, which, can you have a better name for any judge in a baking competition?
Right, Mary Berry.
Mary Berry.
We
know someone that has the hots for her.
She's
and you can listen to him on his podcast, Storied SF.
Yeah, maybe he'll talk about her sometime.
Yeah, and how she looks in jeans.
Yeah, he loves her.
Yeah.
Even though she's late 70s, early 80s probably.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Mary Berry, she's not in the new season.
She's not.
Do you miss her?
I do.
I miss her too, actually.
I do miss her.
I feel like in those earlier seasons, I liked the rapport that she had with Paul. She almost seemed more knowledgeable than him, and he was learning from her almost.
She's
and now that she's gone, it's we're supposed to believe the student has become the master, but
she's really well known and has been doing this for a long time. And she also she kind of comes to the defense a little bit. She kind of calls Paul out on stuff, on when he's being difficult or trying to be a little bit of a Simon on stuff. And
Simon.
And also he can be she sort of has the contestants backs a little bit more.
Yeah,
it's that she recognized they had a bad day or whatever. She's not super critical about it. And she has a genuine, she has a real genuine enthusiasm for baking.
Yes.
That you can really sense, and it feels less like it's a judge, but this is a judge that really knows and loves it.
And when they show her something that she's never seen, you can tell she gets really excited.
And she loves booze in her
I
bakes.
was just gonna say you could or you could just put a whole bunch of whiskey in your bake and she'd be like,
good.
I'm into it.
Yeah. I think it's. I think she provided a really nice counter, and the judge that when they moved to Channel 4, she's fine, but she's just more of a straight judge. She's just like another Paul in some respects, right? And she's perfectly knowledgeable, and I don't dislike her.
Right. I just feel like, maybe it hasn't gelled yet for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, maybe in like the next, later this season, this would be season 5, or maybe the next season, like we'll see more of a click. Like I haven't felt that click for them.
Right. Yeah.
And I haven't really felt it with the
there is a rapport
either.
Yeah, there's a rapport that Paul and Mary have too, to the point of where they had another series where they
Masterclass.
Where they just bake together. Yeah. Like they have a whole side series where it just shows them baking some of the challenges from that week. It was almost like kind of like a follow-up episode. You could see them cook together, so you could tell like there's a little bit more of stronger, like, I don't know, something between the two of them that I think helped the show. Yeah.
What do you think of the new hosts?
I think the new hosts are fine. I mean, of course I like Noel.
Yeah. He is really funny.
He's super, super funny.
He's my favorite of the new additions for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think I like his rapport with the bakers. Mm-hmm. And I like, he's very natural and very funny with them. They have these like kind of like prepared bits with him and Sandy.
They're super
super grown worthy, and like I think Mel and Sue did those too, but they did it with kind of a that was kind of, I thought, kind of funny. This one just seems so staged and awkward, but his conversations with the bakers are not like that.
They're very, because he's a comedian.
Yeah, so they're very spontaneous and natural, and he's funny, and you can tell like they like talking to him.
Yeah.
And so they're saying funny things because he's being funny, and I think he's really good. Well, and it's not that Sandy sucks. She doesn't suck. It's
no.
Nobody sucks
fine.
here.
Yeah, nobody sucks. They're all perfectly fine. I think the other thing too with Mel and Sue is they're kind of a team. They've been a team forever. They were a team before the Great British Baking shows, so they have kind of a proven, rehearsed chemistry that works really, really well for hosting a show like this. Yeah. And they were so good in how they interacted with the judges and like kind of cutting the pressure, and so good at like jumping in like during the actual competition itself and like helping the contestants and kind of taking the edge off a little bit, and also like consoling them. It was more like of a genuine consoling of the person that's voted, that has to leave. Like that's like, they're so good at it. They make it look easy, and like anyone can host a show like this. But I think as talented as the new people are, there's something about the rapport that those two do, and the way that they do it just shows that it's actually harder than it looks. Yeah.
One of the things I always loved about them was that they would try to help.
They try to help.
Like sometimes like by helping them like actually like put their baked goods on plates so that they're not late, and just things like that. But also like they were just like curious. Like they would just ask questions like, why are you doing what you're doing? And if a baker started stressing out or got upset, like they were there to comfort them and tell them like, it's going to be okay. Like, how can we fix this? Let's think,
they
almost
help
like
them
helping
sort it out a little bit.
Help them process like what they're trying to do. Like, okay, like instead of just crying and freaking out and like swearing and losing your mind, like let's figure out what can we do. And it's like, I could start all over and just work way faster. Okay, let's do that. And she helps, and they help them. And
they say some pretty funny things in the new kind of a gym delivery where they like look straight at the camera. Like they'll say something ridiculous like for like 30 minutes, and they'll say something ridiculous, and they'll do like a quick take like right at the camera, like some little funny joke or something. But yeah, they were really good. And the other thing, though, that I think that the new show has also demonstrated is how the contestants are the true stars
Absolutely.
of the show.
Yeah.
And they have, in season 5, they have a great group of contestants. So even if you're not feeling it yet for the changes and everything like that, the contestants will win you
What's
over.
What's funny is every
season the contestants are great.
They are. Like, it's really
good casting.
Whoever's doing the casting is
so good.
Spot on. Like, they get really good people. And every season when it's over and we get ready to start a new season, I'm like, I'm probably not going to like these people as much as the last season because they are so awesome. And then and then I'm like, no, these people are my favorite. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
And I actually said to you last night, like, I wish that they would do, like, maybe a little documentary series.
Kind of where are they now?
Yeah, almost and like catch us up on some of the people from previous seasons because I really do like them and I want to know, like, what they're doing. And maybe they could do it like that, 7 Up. 14 Up series. Maybe they could check in with them like every 7 years. Just
make sure they're still baking.
Make sure they're still baking. Like, did they ever master the cherry pie?
Yeah. It's kind of like it is the perfect, like, I've had a stressful day. I don't want any drama. As you know, like, I'm not into hanging by the seat of my pants and watching shows. Like, I kind of want to, I'm in decompress mode because there's enough drama in the world.
Yes.
And this is like the perfect
thing
and I don't for that.
Binge watch a lot of TV.
We don't.
And you're so quick to punt.
I'm really quick to punt on shows. I am.
But this is one of those shows that we agree on. We super love it when, like, a new season's getting ready to start. Like, I think you texted me and you were like, the new season's coming out on the 31st. And I was like, is this a sext?
Yeah, that's right. And it was and then for season 4, though, on PBS, it was, you learned of it from Felicia Day. Like, she tweeted that a new season of Great British Baking Show
was on PBS. So we had to, like, get the
app going on the TV.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and also now that it's on Netflix, which, by the way, I hate it says like Netflix original,
when
blah
it's
blah
not,
blah. Like, shut the heck up.
It's
you had nothing to do with it.
You literally bought it from BBC.
You literally just threw your crazy Netflix money at it, and now you're saying it's a Netflix original when in fact it is not. So don't.
Liars.
Don't be dumb about it, and don't give us the option to binge. Like, they're like, oh, here's every episode. So now we have to force ourselves, like, all right, I'm not going to watch. Like, we're not going to watch 2 in a row. We're going to wait, and we're still watching pretty much 1 a night.
Yeah.
Whereas previously
we're breaking it up
was like
with our other
week.
Food shows.
Yeah. Previously it was like once a week.
Yeah.
And we looked forward to the once a week, just like in the old days of TV when God was good.
We are so old-fashioned.
Now it's like, here, you can watch all of it in a night and then it's done.
I know.
It's stupid.
It's so tempting, though.
It is tempting. And it's not a Netflix original.
It isn't.
No. Shut up, Donnie. You're out of your league, Donnie.
I'm so glad it's back, though. I love it. And it is one of those shows that people, because this is what people talk about now, right? They're like, what are you watching? Well, I'm watching blah, blah, blah. It's the show I always bring up. I'm watching the Great British Bake Show. Mm-hmm. And people are like, what? Like, it's amazing. You'll thank me later. Watch it right now.
It is amazing, though, how it's become. It has become such a thing, though, because the people that know it and like it, like, oh yeah, no, it's a deal. And just the fact that when it changed networks and went to commercial television in the UK, they called it
like a million. Yeah.
Bake Exit instead of Brexit. It was like Bake Exit. It was like it was a huge, huge news item when it went to.
There's like a million stories about it.
Yeah. So, it's funny that.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I
right.
overpoured your beer.
Nope, it's fine. I didn't spill. We're good.
What other... So I thought maybe I would list some of the other... Because we watch a lot of foodie shows.
We do.
So we also watch Chef's Table
Yes. Chef's Table.
on Netflix. That one's really good.
Yep, that's a good one. We've watched every Chef's Table.
Even
like
though
clockwork.
there's a
We'll
France
watch it.
one too. There's the one in France too,
We
which
watched.
is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
We recommend that one. We liked Cooked a lot. We watched that one.
I did like Cooked. That was really good.
We watched Ugly Delicious. Actually, we haven't finished Ugly Delicious.
We watched some of it. It's just that one guy who hosts it. He's on friggin' everything.
David Chang.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he's
like,
on everything.
yeah, Chang this, Chang that.
Yeah.
And it's fine, but he's
That
kind
one
of
was
like
I think we watched the first episode and we were like, I don't know if I like this.
I mean,
And then we watched the second one and we were like, it's getting better. And then they did one about tacos and we were like, that one was really good.
I feel like he's trying to be Bourdain,
Right.
and no one can touch Bourdain.
Right.
When it comes to kind of like, he's got to have an attitude, and he's got like his cool. I mean, he has some really good restaurant. He's obviously established. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not, a serious person that's well known, but it's just, you can't just do a show about a particular region or cuisine. Like, you have to do your own kind of spin and be cool. And
Yeah.
he's trying to be cool, I feel, a little bit.
You think he's trying too hard?
I think he tries a little. I think he's trying to be Bourdain.
Yeah.
I think, and Bourdain he was just him. I think the thing with Anthony is that he's just being himself, and he's always been that way.
Right.
And he is also was a really good writer. Like, he was
Right.
he was a very well-spoken, really good writer. And so he brings a level to it. He brings like kind of a documentary, kind of a journalism perspective to it that no other chef's going to be able to do, because
Which is, and this, by the way, Parts Unknown is another show I was going to mention.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is like, it has food elements to it, but I wouldn't say it's a food show. It's more of a travel log.
it's like
But-
30% food. Like,
Right.
it's not even.
It's enough food to scratch the itch for us.
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah. But I feel like Chang's trying to be it, but he's not. He's not a writer like Bourdain was,
Yeah,
and that's the difference.
that makes sense.
Like,
to
I
me.
feel like
I think the show's fine. Like, we've watched,
it's fine.
I'm not like, ooh, when the second season starts, yay, second season of Ugly Delicious, wee! Like, but I'll watch it if we've watched all the other stuff, I guess.
Some travel people, because I mean, a huge part of those shows is they're travel shows too. They're not just cooking shows; they're
Right.
travel shows, and there are very few people that can do a travel show and go into another culture or go into another, a city or a neighborhood or something like that. And there's they're making observations about the place. They're like they're a stranger in a strange land. They're like they're experiencing this culture, and then they're communicating it to you in a way that is interesting, hopefully, or insightful, or just what impact it had on them. And I feel like that's why the people that are really good at that, I was thinking of, what's his name from Monty Python, his travel stuff.
Michael Palin.
Michael Palin.
Yeah.
He's just finished a series. The guy is how old? He just finished a thing where he went around North Korea.
Wow.
So, like, that guy has been everywhere, and you watch his shows.
Well, he's been doing it forever, right?
Yeah,
since
been doing it
like the 80s.
Yeah, he's been doing
Right?
it forever, and he does it in such a way, and I think and Bourdain did it that way as well, where they have such an interesting, unique observation of this different stuff, and other people who try to do it and do travel and food shows, they don't do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what's neat about Chef's Table is it's not a travel show. It's like we're bouncing all over the place.
We
I
are.
know.
That's
I'm sorry
okay.
about that.
No, we can. We can do whatever we want.
It's true. It's your show.
It's my show.
Yeah. Goodbye, Smith. What I love about Chef's Table is that it's not. It sounds like it's so boring on paper. It sounds like, all right, we're going to profile and do a little ninny biography about this person that has this really good restaurant.
Right.
And that's the show. It's like, well, that doesn't sound super good.
Yeah, but everybody has a story.
Right.
But they do it so well, and I think the photography really, I should say cinematography, is amazing. It's incredibly beautiful to look at.
Yeah, Chef's Table is gorgeously shot. Really, really beautifully shot. Same thing with Cooked. It's one of those things that if you have a 4K TV, like, it's worth watching on a 4K TV.
Right.
Like, it's that good, even though it's a show about Chef's Table. About
Somebody on
a
Twitter
restaurant.
that I follow was talking about Chef's Table, and they said, this is Chef's Table. Every man is, I'm a bad boy, and I had to channel it into being a chef. And every woman is, I have so much love to give that I put it into food and I want to feed you. And I'm like, it's about right.
It's about right.
Yeah.
But what I like about it, though, is that it's like a little mini biography. Every story is basically the story of someone who is creative and has been able to, through all sorts of ridiculous, some of them like really pretty tough, scary, life-changing circumstances, either reinvent themselves or just create this thing where they've been able to establish themselves and be successful and be creative. And at the end of the day, how many people in the world, that's what they want to do.
Well,
and they're able to do it. And it's an amazing profile of how these people have been able to succeed and be creative.
You have an idea of, I think this is a good idea, I'm going to do it. And pretty much they're surrounded by people who are like, what a shitty idea.
Yeah.
No one's going to like your idea and you're going to lose everything and your family and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I really think it might be a good idea. And then they do it anyway. It's hard. It's hard. It's like,
they're
when you're
inspiring stories in that regard.
When you're a creative person, the idea that you want to put something out there and everyone's like, don't do it, it's a shitty idea.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, I really feel like I got to put it out there, and you do it anyway, is something that so many people can relate to, not just chefs. That's true of writers, filmmakers, photographers.
Oh, anyone.
I mean, anyone, really.
Anyone who
You could
has...
say a content marketing manager.
No, not those people. But anyone that has like a creative bone in their body, like, this is a kind of a show for them. And also it just shows it, like the other stuff, it just shows this amazing creativity and beautiful presentation of food, and even stuff that's like, no way do I have any interest in trying that because it's gross, but it looks absolutely gorgeous on the plate. And like,
that's one of the funny things about that we watch all these shows about food, because really I could eat about 2% of what we're seeing.
you couldn't eat very much of it. I could eat more.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of it where neither of us would eat that, but
yeah, that is true.
You know, as a high maintenance vegan, no, I'm not high maintenance, but I am a vegan.
She's high maintenance.
I'm totally not.
Medium.
I'm not high maintenance. How
medium,
dare you?
Medium maintenance.
I am the lowest maintenance vegan ever.
Probably, but is that saying something?
Don't listen to him, my fellow vegans.
Sorry.
What a jerk.
I know.
But there
it's
are
the
like
quad. It's the quad. I blame alcohol.
Right, he's already blaming the booze.
Yep. It's my go-to thing to blame.
There's not much in these shows that I could eat, but I still love watching them.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, we both have to turn away when there's slaughtering going on, though. Like,
Yeah,
there's some
I don't
stuff
like to
where it's
do
like,
that stuff. Why do you think we love to watch food shows? And then when I say we, I mean me and you, not necessarily the whole world.
Why do we like... you know, is it one of those things? I don't know.
Because it is one of those things that we have always watched together.
It's a complete story. It has an arc to it. Mm-hmm. When it's done, it's done. So there's the satisfaction of it.
Right.
It's not like an ongoing thing that leads you on forever. We both do love food, and we both do love going out to eat, and we both do like to cook.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge factor too. We also love the travel aspect and love like seeing these different cool locations and everything like that. And
I think that's how we like to travel.
yeah,
Like, we just like to walk around and go into places and, like, have a beer and eat and get out and walk around some more and have a beer and eat. That's what we like to do.
well, that's what's
Let's
funny
go to a
too.
museum and then we'll go eat.
I do some, like I do some travel for work. And like, if I go to a different funky place, like one of the first things I'm going to look up is, all right, what can I eat?
Yeah.
Like food for me and travel is like one of the, like when we went on vacation this summer, it's like, all right, I'm going to eat all the fish tacos.
Yes.
That's it. There'll be no more when I leave.
It's funny you mention it. I was going to bring up that we went to Cabo this summer.
Yeah.
This was maybe one of our only vacations that was like, we're in a resort and it's all inclusive and you're going to eat at the resort and you're going to go to the pool and everything's in the resort. And it was
so you and I.
Yeah, because we like to go out and walk around and explore.
Oh,
and like
yeah.
we kind of only did that for like maybe one of the days.
Yeah.
And even though like we went on this bus trip that like wasn't my favorite bus trip in the world, to say the least, like when we first got on the bus trip or on the bus, I loved being on the bus. I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
Like now we're actually going to travel.
Yeah, now we're
not
actually
just
going to travel. Like
on
now
a-
we're actually going to see a little bit of Mexico that isn't just like America Light in the resort.
Yeah, we're not enclosed in a paddock.
And then we, took like a city bus to like another part of Mexico, and the bus ride didn't go awesome for me because it was really hot on that bus and I don't like the heat. But once we got off the bus and walked around, like I loved exploring like a whole thing, and we got to eat there and we went to a brewery there, and that's the kind of travel that we like to do. There's
nothing better than like walking in through a small town in another country. It's always interesting. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's one of those things like, you get to the point like, well, now you have young kids, and that makes a lot of the stuff that you used to like to do much more.
But we still do it, I think.
We do as much as we can. Yeah.
I mean, is it tougher? Sure. Like it's a little tougher.
One of our all-time highlights of Hawaii was going to that poke hut.
Oh yeah.
Poke shack.
Yeah, the poke shack.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right. That's when I still ate fish, so yeah. That was like bananas.
They're walking by you with the fish that they just caught. Like that's how fresh it is. Like you're sitting there and they're just walking by you like nonstop with like, well, we just got off the boat. Here's this, and we're gonna make this poke that makes everything you've ever had in your life taste like it's stale.
Yeah.
It's stale. Yeah. It's like sushi with a crunch. But I think that's why there's an appeal to the cooking shows for me.
Also, I think one of the reasons we stopped watching like a Top Chef, I think so much of it has to do with all the streaming that is available now, especially on Netflix, but also like Amazon. We were watching Top Chef because we wanted to see people cook, and we were kind of tolerating the like drama aspect because we just wanted to watch people cook. Like, I mean, we weren't watching like Chopped or, things like that. Although I used to watch Iron Chef back in the day, but that was another one where I was like, I just wanted to watch people cook, really.
That's more game showy. Like Hell's Kitchen, I have no interest in. People love the little kids one, which I'd really like to watch sometime and try.
We could totally watch one of those.
Like I don't care to see the.
Like we don't care about the competitive aspect. We just want to watch people cook and be excited to cook.
I don't like forced drama or forced like manipulation of emotions.
And there's so much now, like on Netflix. You could type in like food and like so many different things are going to come up.
They're cheap
that
to
you
make,
can watch.
honestly, too.
Yeah, there's all of that. You've got your various like Parts Unknown, Chef's Table, Cooked, Ugly Delicious, like all of those things. Then you've got like all those foodie documentaries, like was it Euro Dreams of Sushi? Is that Hero?
Yeah, Hero Dreams of Sushi. And then Netflix even did Abstract, which is kind of like a variation of, it's almost like a version of Chef's Table, but it's about visual arts.
Right.
But it's kind of the same sort of style as Chef's Table, where it's following these different people, but they're all in different They're not cooks.
Yeah. Well, then I wonder, like, some of these documentaries or documentary series, they can lead people to watch things like Forks Over Knives and Vegucated and What the Health, and people have been talking about like this I don't want to get, here we go, I'm going to talk about vegan, but there is like this crazy increase in like veganism and vegan products, and I keep wondering, is it because these kinds of documentaries are all on Netflix and more people are watching them now than ever before?
Maybe I'm sure that's a factor to it. I'm sure there's a factor to it.
I'm just wondering if like people watch these like food shows, because when you watch those food shows, then Netflix is like, you might, they suggest things, and I think they're suggesting these health documentaries that are tied to food.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, it's sort of
By the way, I'm not trying to preach to anybody. I'm just throwing a theory out there.
Yeah, I mean, going to watching Chef's Table and then being suggested Forks Over Knives is like watching, Winnie the Pooh and then being suggested Caillou. I think, you know what I think it is, though? I don't think it's those documentaries. I think it's, you watch these shows, and one thing that it hits upon you is how important and what a difference it makes to everything when what you're cooking with is of quality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's sourced well. So you put there's better, more value is placed on the ingredients.
Yeah.
And what it is that and there's more emphasis put on the value of the ritual of like cooking and cooking for your family and breaking bread and everything like that. Like the one big takeaway I think is like it really does make a difference when you go to a restaurant and you can tell like that. Like I went to that restaurant last week. It was just this little pub thing, and I got a burger, and the tomatoes on it were like the deepest red that the guy just got from the farmer's market that week, and it was so good that I didn't want to put the tomato on the burger. I just wanted to eat like slices of the tomato, and then he immediately came out with some olive oil and a little kosher salt on it for me, because it was such good product. And it helps you appreciate food where it's more than just sustenance, or more than just sustenance, but there actually is value to the ingredients itself. I think that's what it is it puts more importance on it.
Okay.
And so to me, that's an amazing and an important lesson that we forget.
And I think shows like this encourage people to not only go to a place that cares about good ingredients, but try to get those ingredients yourself. And I think something like the Great British Baking Show makes it feel more possible to try it yourself.
Yeah.
Like I, recently started cooking in the last couple of years. Like I'm interested in cooking. So I'm going to try to learn. I'll buy a cookbook and, whatever. And I, we started watching the show and I was like, I wonder if I could make bread.
Right.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'm going to try to make bread. So then I bought a book about baking bread and, started baking different kinds of bread. I still haven't made a baguette yet. That's kind of on my list. But
you made pretzels. I
did make pretzels.
One of my favorite things are pretzels, and you are like the fresh baked pretzel.
Yeah,
and
those
you made it
ballpark pretzels.
The Pennsylvania Dutch pretzels those are amazing too. Yep.
I made that for your birthday.
That was really nice of you.
It's because I love you.
I think the other thing is, I know. I think the other thing is, the other thing that's stands out to me is you really appreciate the quality of these ingredients, and then you think about how important it is and how access is such an issue, because people do not have access to those ingredients.
Right.
The people that should have access to these sorts of things don't, because not everyone has a Whole Foods, let alone can afford to go to a Whole Foods. And I still think some of that stuff is kind of ridiculous too. So it's I think that's the other thing, is that there needs to be like it kind of underscores the idea that the quality of ingredients is something that is important for everybody, for a healthy lifestyle in general. But anyway, there's not like an over the head lesson with any of this stuff. It's still just entertaining and good to watch. If anything, it just helps you appreciate more what it is that what goes into making this stuff. And it's not as easy as it looks. And there's so much room for creativity and exploring. And also, like, the way that these people in the show can pull these things out under the most ridiculous circumstances that look, and I wish you could taste it, but look absolutely amazing. There have been so many episodes where, like, everything on the table, you're like, I would try every one of those things.
Every one of their baked goods.
Oh,
I would put it in my mouth.
Yeah, pretty much any of the baked goods, and any show that shows cheese, I just start to You
need to watch the Great British Cheese Off.
I need to watch the Great Cheese Off.
Is there that show?
That's called the Dorking Out Show. Is the Great Cheese Off, isn't it? I think
that's our spin-off.
I think in Italian it translates to the Great Cheese Off. Yeah, there's one episode we watched where they showed them in this, making like aging Parmesan in a chef's table in Italy or something like that. And they're like cutting off like the wheels with like this perfectly aged whatever, something that I may never have in my life. And I'm just so jealous of the person taking slices off of this thing. It just looks so good.
Even I want that.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. I'm not made of stone.
No. Cheese is one of the greatest things ever.
So this was super fun.
Yeah.
How do you like the beer?
I do. I like it. I like it a lot.
I love it as always.
You know what's kind of funny, by the way, is also I should mention that we watched a 90s Julia Childs.
Oh my God, that was PBS so
because
funny.
It was one of the recommended things after we watched A Great British Baking Show. And it was this weird,
it was so
videotape,
weird.
Early 90s. Yeah. She's older, so she's not like actually doing the cooking. She's like a chef, a guest chef. Yeah. She's seated, but still towering over everybody.
This guy. Yeah.
And every component of the dish required at least a pound of butter.
I was just gonna say a stick of butter, every the tiniest bit of like crab or lobster or something.
Yeah, of course and that's gonna taste good.
You have to cook it with this pound of butter.
Yeah, there's so much butter.
Yeah, don't forget the salt.
But it was fun. But it was fun to watch. And
then of course we started thinking about like Dan Aykroyd as Julia Child,
which is the best.
And it started a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Oh, I've cut the dickens out of my finger.
It's so good.
I love that one so much.
But and everyone should watch Great British Baking Show if they haven't already. And don't let the new season put you off because it has different hosts and judges.
No, it's definitely worth it. I think you're exactly right when you say that the real stars are the people on it. They're really good bakers. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's been a really fun season just because of the contestants.
Yeah, I think so too. And seasons 1 through 5, they're all on Netflix.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original, apparently. Apparently, it was their idea all along.
You can also watch it, I think, through the PBS app.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do Netflix, and of course it's like Amazon and stuff like that if you want to pay for it, but...
Yeah, I think everyone can get access to the PBS app. We didn't have to pay anything for the PBS app.
No, we did not.
Access. It's all about access.
It is. So this was super fun. You can find the Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com, and you can find us on Twitter at Dorking Out Show. You can find me at The Sonia Show. I'm always tweeting about the Great British Baking Show and vegan stuff and autism and what else? Politics. Unfortunately.
It's a laugh riot.
It's hilarious.
It's a laugh riot.
Sometimes I joke about cancer. So fun. Anyway, this was really fun. Thank you, David, for coming on this week. And then I believe next week, Margot is going to be back, and we're going to talk about our favorite comfort movies because we need a little comfort right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun.
All right.
So thank you. Cheers, David.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.